Jane and Janet, every Adamu on the streets of Nigeria can well feel this. I do not think it is something I will add any specialty to disclose or display on it. But inshallah, I'll try my humble best to lead this discussion, and perhaps the best of our submissions of opinions may at the end of the day even come from the better minds that are seated above me. If I only have a task, an assignment on which I hope, inshallah, I will try to deliver. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the task. Talking about the contemporary economic challenges, then that will be looked at from Hindu and Islamic perspectives. I like to be pointed in the discussion. What are the challenges we are looking about? We are talking about maybe challenges of poverty, challenge of unemployment, challenge of inflation, insecurity, and let me end it at the last, or as well as the first challenge of corruption. All these vices working together really have driven the contemporary Nigeria into a situation that actually needs urgent salvaging. But if I would want to say that most of these things that we look at from my own view, from economic angle, I think they are nothing but offshoots of what I will call intellectual poverty. The Nigerian nation has gone to a stage where the minds of an average citizen of this country is either polluted or perverted, or you have orientation completely subverted, and that has been resultant into so many things. If we are saying poverty, we are talking about unemployment, but have we also come to look at it that we really even have employable population in the real sense of it? What is the quality of the graduates we are turning out? The youth, which should be the reservoir for the nation's economy in terms of human resource, what kind of quality are our youth made of? Because we tend to separate between things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained that they must be fused together. In describing the munafiqun in the Quran, Allah describes them as وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَنْ يُوصَلَ. One of their characteristics is that they separate, they sever between two things which Allah Azza wa Jalla has ordained that they must be fused together. How do you think we can attain economic felicity, economic prosperity, when in fact the bulk of the population that has been dependent upon to drive the economy are either sick Austrians, are either disorientated or malorientated? We are talking of a situation where the youth of this country, so to say, have been engrossed in crises that if we do not take proactive measures to address this, when it is their turn to drive the affairs of this country, people who are either drug addicts. An average Nigerian youth of today is not free from cybercrime. And what has been the cause of this is that if you go to our education sector, what kind of graduates are our schools coming out to make up the various jobs that are needed? In fact, you don't even have a population that are ready to work in the first place. And this drives home economics. that before we think of economic prosperity, what should have been thought of, and more importantly, is that which will drive that economic prosperity. And this really link between this issue and what has also been reacted in the speech of the chairman of the same senior advocate that is spoken before me, talking about the democracy and Shariah. And this I like to also link with what we know in our constitution as fundamental objectives and directing principles, so that we know that we should have focal points and that we should also have guidelines and regulations that guide our activities as a people. In Islam, all that Allah has revealed in the Quran as law, and all that Muhammad has taught in his ahadith are all aimed at some scholars would say, 6 fundamental objectives. And they are in this order. 1, the law must have a specific purpose, a determined objective to preserve the religion of the people. And I must say that we are tending to secularity, thinking that liberality is the way to balance economy. That is wrong. In most cases, most of what we call religious values, religious ethics, are in essence meant to infuse in man the qualities and values that will make him optimal in all its other fields of the living. Meaning, even if we must attain economic prosperity as a nation, it is very important that we have sound minds. That's why Sharia has insisted on soundness. Look, if people do not subscribe to a value that is higher than them, when we are speaking of religion in the Nigerian context now, I do not specifically say Islam. We can extend it to all what is practiced as a religion, especially in the light of what is known as universal values. There are a number of values in the Quran that, the Quran may have emphasized some things, but if you break it down to the minutest detail, you all agree with me that these are simply values in humanity. If we drive our nation such that there is consciousness of accountability, consciousness of responsibility, especially to some higher authority in terms of purposefully driving religious values, I think Nigerians will not be as reckless as they are. People as whimsical as they are. Because it is such a nation that where you have it all, you can manipulate the system. And once that has been achieved, then there is nobody to be any longer. I was thinking about the religious value. Then come to that is preservation of properties. Next to that is preservation of independence. Do we need to be a Sharia state, for example, to know that it is not healthy for the nation, that liquor is freely available in virtually every corner of the streets? Not only in bigger sizes, but also in small pocket sizes, even if you want it in sachets. And it's so worrisome that the bulk of even the girls have now become addicts to these substances. These are the ones in whose hands we want to impose the economy of this country in their generation. Going to that, we talk about Islamic, preservation of culture, preservation of lineage, ensuring that procreation happens in legitimate order, and that those are. So, what I'm trying to say in essence is that the economic situation we have found ourselves may not entirely be blamed on failure of government policies, but I would say maybe more blamed on the kind of population, the kind of quality of population we are constituted by, especially when it comes to what our mindset is. Mindset of laziness, mindset of miracle seekers. If Allah has our Jannah has said, لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل إلا أن تكون تجارة عن تراض. The Islamic golden principles that are tried in the Quran for making money is just about adding one value to deliver. Economic prosperity, by the text of the Quran, is tied to productivity, either in terms of goods or in terms of services. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, do not divorce the properties of one another among yourselves, except it is through a process of trade in which certain goods or service has been exchanged. Otherwise, what is made in any such transaction that is delivering valuable on one side without transferring any valuable to the other side is not considered legitimate or halal income in Islam. So if you want to blame poverty on the government, I think we may not be getting it. If we continue to watch this trend continue unabated, I am afraid the time will come that is being witnessed in some of the great countries of the world today. Foreigners are driving their economy. It is happening. People to some of the giants in our contemporary world. As far as their citizens are concerned, they are in boats, being managed for one psychiatric condition or the other. That is a direct consequence of addiction or some antisocial habits that have been developed. Phone addiction is another problem, which of course has also led to cybercrime, which is involving, without exaggerating the statistics, not less than 60% of Nigerian youth of today is involved in one cybercrime or the other. If not that, exposure to pornography. All these will do nothing but damage on the mind, on the heart. And this, to me, I want to identify as more direct causes of poverty, of unemployment, because even if there is an employer of labor, but there are no employable graduates that can really deliver in the society, what are we talking about? We all know what this takes us as well now to corruption, which has become so endemic. They are all having hearing of our economic situation. When parents here will gladly hold meetings with teachers of the schools of their kids at the ordinary and the secondary level, and we hold meetings, they're bargaining on what is the package of the external examiner that are coming to supervise the examination of their children. And the prices are named. And the parents as well will perform. They will perform in advance, no past consideration in what we are talking about. So, I think it's more when you have an issue of spiritual bankruptcy, coupled with moral decadence, and then a version of orientation. This would account to 70% of our situation. Then maybe on the part of the government or on the part of the players in the legal sector, I think we also have our rules. particularly in the area. I want to isolate one factor that is also contributing to the economic situation of Nigeria in particular is the security situation. It is having a direct bearing on food prices because farmers are afraid of being kidnapped in farms. So most farmers have now turned to Okada riders in the city. What can we do as lawyers, as judges, to help this situation? You see, wallahi, whether we like it or not, if we do not agree politically, the life's lessons, life's experiences will impress it on us that indeed with Allah lies the peak of wisdom. There is part of the verse in the Quran which says, "Wafil qisasi hayatun ya ulil albab." I want to ask, what is happening to the various death sentences justifiably passed by our judges on deserving convicts? Has there been a conspiracy on the part of the authorities that have signed the legal death warrants to refuse to do that, both at state and at national level? Look at us. In retributive justice is preservation of life, all ye who can prevent. Unfortunately, we have a situation in Nigeria where we have someone whose death sentence has been affirmed by the Supreme Court, is still lying there in prison, and no one is executing it. Do you know what the Quran has recommended and to our Honorable Attorney General? I want to make a suggestion that Nigeria is not taking advantage enough of the blend of the multi-faceted legal system, divergent legal system that Allah has packaged for us in this country. Whether you like it or not, agree or you don't agree, Shariah is part and parcel of the Nigerian legal system. It is in our constitution and it is in our statutes. I see no harm. I think it's going to be a big advantage. Even the Nigerian, it doesn't matter what is the source of a particular law, but what matters is what advantage has that law brought to confer. Allah says, "Innama jazā'u man yuḥāribū Allāha wa rasūlahu." Verily, the reward of those who cause insecurity in the earth, in the land, by waging war, by disturbing the peace, by constituting threat and terror, and will not do. Their reward is that they be killed not through a process that has entailed some mercy at all. The Qatlu means which will be executed through a merciless process. It is not barbaric to have crucifixion in our criminal law. Yes, it is not barbaric. How to have the ID or you have their hands amputated alternately. How you vulnerable or they are banished completely from the land, depending on the degree of the insecurity they have posed. In those days, we used to witness it announced on the news that some convicts are to be sentenced and it's going to be televised on the national news. We used to have a place in the north called Kulele, and from the name Kulele, that is the Kulele, it is a ground for execution. Sometimes criminal punishment is about creating deterrence in the society. It definitely has. But unfortunately, these are issues that people are now trying to play politics around. But is it all about the government? No. And as lawyers as well, we all know the roles we play in frustrating the cause of justice against Islamic freedom. Because on both sides, there are legal representations. And unfortunately, there is no harm in our law conferring certain rights on people who are very suspects in the eye of the law. Because the Shariah standard in that regard is zero harm. The talk of reasonable doubts in the English common law, the Shariah will insist beyond every shadow of doubt. Even the owners of the constitution to secure conviction under strict Islamic law is far higher. But what we are saying at the end of this is wala takunu bil khainina khasima. It is morally wrong. It is spiritually culpable. For anyone who calls himself a Muslim, working either in the capacity of a legal practitioner or serving in the capacity of a judicial officer or whatever it be, to subvert justice by refusing to subject to punishment those who are really deserving. This contribution by lawyers, I would want to exempt judges because they are still not stopped passing their sentences. So then I think they have passed on the ball to the next authority in that regard. I think these are areas that can be looked at. What? Sorry, I want to say something for you. Do you know that machine that is used in grinding metal objects into pieces? You can grind the whole car. Do you know that? Assuming we have a law in this country that whoever has been found guilty of kidnapping, banditry, should not be killed by violence, but will be grinded. Life will be grinded out of him, and it will be made public. One time this thing will stop. It will stop. It's not that Islamic law in civil law. And it can end in either of three consequences, and the state has no right to interfere. The estates of the slain deceased person can say, we forgive. We let go. It has happened, it has happened. We will do this. No Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice must insist that that person must face prosecution. It can also end in receiving what is called dear, blood money. Whereas, because at the end, we really do not know what advantages to because sometimes it can be argued whether the punishment are aside from the social remedy it achieves and the purpose of deterrent in the public realm, but to the victims of crime themselves, it is not sure whether they are really gratified enough by the punishment that the state gives to offenders of law. Whereas, under Islamic law, there are ways some crimes can also be converted to civil law, and you have the victims benefiting from damages that will be paid to them. And the damages are not discretionary, they are fixed by the text of the law, which will always be applicable in all of this. And also, a victim also has the right to say, okay, you have killed that people, your own soul too must go. And when the soul decide, I can remember a story, I think it happened in Saudi Arabia, very heart-touching story. A prince who happened to be a nephew to late King Abdullah was, sometimes, well, half-conscious can be intoxicated. He was just driving at the high speed. And another youngster who also felt legitimately that his own machine is also enough, good enough to race with the prince, also tried to engage him. That was all. And they got to a traffic lights, a stopping point. The prince got out of the car with annoyance. How dare you race with me? And the man knows he brought out the rifle and shot the guy dead. It's a celebrated story. Because they couldn't cover it also. All media were watching, following the story. Until the guy was prosecuted, sentenced to death, and the date of his execution fixed. People were gathered. The crowd was so suddenly the father of the slave just emerged that he just wanted to test the law, that everybody is secure under the law of the land. The old law against him, and after at that stage, and that was what saved the guy. So when we speak of rule of law in our country, it also has a bearing on economic productivity. One important aspect of rule of law is about how speedily we dispose of our cases in courts of law. A number of commercial disputes are there lying so that even at the time the judgments will be handed down by the court, the whole course of matter that are led into the litigation would have completely lost in value. In fact, we have so many of such cases. My wonderful analyst was watching me, about to say something of the case I was treated till the 11th year before I got appointed to the bench. That case is still pending as we speak in the 17th year. In the 17th year, just we are landed by the street. It's still there. We are still talking of the level of the high court. We all know what we do as lawyers that contribute to this. Where an environment is not supportive, the Master of Allah says, in one of may the Master of Allah be of some person considerate when he buys, considerate also when he sells, and also considerate even as he sits the dress in litigations. This is the area that concerns us. I think we have to maybe possibly empower the aspect of alternative dispute resolution in this area. More, yes, Lagos is already taking a leading role in that area. But I think we can introduce more reforms that will not even make it necessary any longer for many disputes to even come for adjudicating resolution of the regular courts. I think if we do that, inshallah, many of the crises we are facing today will be addressed. We have a crisis situation at hand, a situation of unemployment, a situation of poverty, a situation of insecurity, a situation of daily uncertainty. Nigeria is such a situation that you can't just predict what will happen next. Nothing seems to even be working in our system. Is there any solution that is offered by our great religion in this regard? I will say yes. This is the time that we have to be our brothers' keepers. especially as has been emphasized by the Logos tonight. This is a situation where leaving many people alone on their own, they cannot weather the storm. They need the support of their brothers and sisters, and this drives home the need to strengthen the Islamic social security systems in terms of zakat, in terms of sadaqah, in terms of tabarruk, in terms of our power, and I'm coming to break some of these things down. Do you know that when you travel to Saudi Arabia, Medina in particular, and you see Castle Umar bin al-Khattab, you know Umar bin al-Khattab, that companion of the Prophet. The person will think that those buildings only have immortalized those personalities. No. I want to confirm to you today that there are charity endowments that have endured for over 14 centuries. Some of which started as date plantation. Let me tell you a very funny story. There used to be a Jew in Medina owning a well that was dug so deeply. That well used to have more water at the time in the year when most wells would have dried. That well unusually used to be the last to get. So it was highly patronized by the people. So the Jew decided to commercialize it. He was selling it. Uthman bin Affan, that companion of the Prophet Sallallahu, rather also was interested in buying up the well and declaring it for charity so that people will benefit from it. For you to know that, wallahi, yamhaqullahu riba wa yurbi sadaqah. Every tendency of extreme materialism will be robbed of blessings at the end of the day, but Allah will give endless blessings in deeds of charity. Uthman bin Affan approached the Jew, sell the well to me. He refused. Okay, at some point, he was able to complete. Don't sell it, let me just give you half the value, so that I just have half of the days of the week, while you also have half. You know, and that's when you, nothing but capitalism is in their blood and health, your age, time memorial. He considered that's a good deal. I still keep my wealth. The only one they have interest, fine. He collected the money. But what Uthman bin Affan did was that his own days will now be dedicated for free church. So people now divide the mix. They have storages in their houses. When it is Uthman's time, they will come and fetch water and store water in their houses. And when it is the Jewish man's name, there will be no patronage at them. On his own, out of frustration, he later came and approached the Khalifa. Please come and buy it then. His son bought it, even had something. That well later grew into an irrigation for a plantation of dates around, which later turned into. You are talking of major cash crop. The proceeds from that plantation has now been responsible for those high rises you are seeing. Even if we do not know of any. The Torah that has been the dream accommodation that all of you would want to lodge in, going to have. You know it's an endowment charity for late Sheikh Abdulaziz bin Abdullah bin Fa. I think that is the most highly priced hotel in Makkah. Am I correct? And as high as the proceeds of that hotel is, it is dedicated to 100% charity. But in this case, defined charity. There are cases you must specify for the maintenance of the mosque we have. So don't praise Saudi government for any ambition, Christian expansion projects in Ham. The proceeds from that hotel alone is enough to fund that project. They may not even be taking anything from the oil resources. These are processes and then packages that Islam has had. May have Sadaqah for meeting people's immediate needs. We need to be more charitable this time. If you are close to people who work in the health sector, especially in the department of psychiatry, you will know that really people are troubled. The rate of depression is so high. I can only call depression. When you meet the doctors, they have all kinds of names for different classification of psychiatric areas. Some I cannot even pronounce. That if you trace the root of all this is sort of lacking, hopelessness, living in a situation where there is no bearing, and there is also no one to fall on. That should not be our own situation. At least in the Ummah of Islam, if we suffer this problem collectively, the Muslims among us at least should find a haven of the sort in their Muslim brothers and sisters. Allah says in the glorious Quran, and this is for us to know. Welcome, my Lord, and JCA, the Muslim person. If I ask you hypothetically, can someone who is committed to prayer, fasting, still end up finding himself in haram by the text of the Quran, even if he has been praying in haram and has only explored only the halal? The answer to this question may be yes. And why can it be yes? One thing which Allah hates and despises is to be unconcerned about fellow human beings. The Quran says, why would he not be condemned to fire? He would, because he has refused to climb a steep slope, a steep mountain, a steep elevation. The steepness is symbolic of the delicateness of and hazardousness of having to climb an elevation that is steep. You know, it can be very fatal. Once you lose your feet and you roll down, that will be the end. That is exactly what Allah wants you to dare climb before you attain salvation within. And for failure to do that, one may find, and Allah goes on, what has become you, O Muhammad? What is called the steep slope, the steep elevation? The first thing Allah says is praying is slavery. In those days when human beings would be held as properties that can be disposed of, you can sell them. No, they are humans like us, but their own humanity is in the tertiary degree. Allah wouldn't take it kindly with anyone living in that age and time who could buy people and set them free, but has refused to do so, but has only been amassing his wealth for purposes only Allah knows. People end up for failure to please him. How now ask me in the Quran, where is freeing of slave located in the 5 pillars of Islam? For those of you who will think that what is ultimate is fulfilling the 5 pillars of Islam, that would be where that is located. You can't miss it. But there are instances where obligation that may be public obligation may transit from that and now become a personal obligation on you if you are the next person that has become aware of that thing, and that is a duty of care. This is what we are saying. Our level of duty of care should be so that, if the problem is a common calamity for the woman, yes, we are for the nation, we are living. There should be a level in Islamic brotherhood for Muslim brothers and sisters. How it happened in the Muslim. Someone praying will end up finding himself in hell if he has failed to give food in days of hunger. Are we in one of such days as we speak about? Yatiman Dharma, an orphan that is also close to him in relation, our miskinan Dharma, or a poor person that is downtrodden Then, ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة. Then it's of those who have sustained his faith in Allah, and then he endures, especially hard times, but at the same time, is engaged in acts of mercy and charity, and he has also found a platform for himself where he also encourages. I was so happy when I was listening to the chairman's speech and I had something like a Mulan welfare. Do you think lawyers are exempted from what you are saying? It's not. So many lawyers are out. Even if, okay, Muslim lawyers can just find some solace in their professional Muslim organization. And when I'm in trouble or I'm in crisis, I have somewhere to follow. It is one of the ways we can contribute to ameliorating the crisis. And this will decrease some numbers. In many verses of the Quran, especially in the last juzu of the Quran, there is hardly any surah where this Bible has not been emphasized. Go to Surah to Insan, go to Surah to Layl. Allah says, فَأَنذَرْتُكُمْ نَارًا تَلَظَّى. I warn you regarding a fire that is full of flame. لَا يَصْلَاهَا إِلَّا الْأَشْقَى. None will be condemned to that fire except those who have been most unfortunate. Up till then, Allah is now saying, "Amma man a'ata wattaqa." Those who have been given, and they also give out in charity, wasaddaqa bil husna, and they confirm the bounties of Allah upon them, as we are still doing use. Allah says, "We shall perfect their own lives as well and affairs for ease." Wa'amma man bakhila wasadna. But as for those who have been given, but has chosen. As for those who have been given, but they have chosen to be stingy. And such person is either covering up or denying the bounties of Allah. You know yourself, brothers. We are all complaining about economic hardship, but let's be proud of ourselves. This is the best time economically for some Nigerians. What Allah wants from you, if you are such who has been favored by this same situation that has imposed hardship on the generality, may also have turned around in some special way to also be opening doors and opportunities and blessings to some others. Allah does not want us to hide and conceal the favor of Allah. So charity, especially at the individual level, I want to recommend you the high this time. Then the issue of endowment, I have made the case with Umar ibn Khattab, with Uthman ibn Affan. Let me tell you the story of Umar. Umar happened to have had his share of the duty of the Battle of Khaybar to be a land that was a plantation land for dates. He came to ask the messenger of Allah, what do I do with it? And the Prophet told him, Shida Habasta Aslaha wa Tasaddaqta bihi. If you wish, you tie up its ownership. That is, the ownership of the land should be tied up and held down in a perpetual trust. Wa Tasaddaqta bihi. And you give the proceeds out in charity. That was about the best, in fact, the wealthiest, the fortune, the greatest fortune that Umar had at that time. When he asked his teacher, Muhammad Sallallahu, look at the honest teacher, and also look at the honest teacher. I wish what do you think would have been to have just met about a contemporary shape Islamic project of I was okay, you don't have dedicated and have the problem and the college is that not? The prophet himself also did not claim it. If he had told Umar, give it up for the messenger of Allah, you will hear nothing other than surrender. You hear and obey. Given the level of loyalty he had for the Prophet. But the Prophet as well did not say that. He also advised him, because the mistake we make is that we think we can amass, and we can secure the lives of our children, but wallahi, it is a big error. Many people are having the opportunity to buy for themselves the latest mansion in the jungle, but they are failing in doing that. Rather, they are just keeping the money in the banks for children who will not be answerable for that money because it's their God-given right. But you will not move an inch on the day of Qiyamah until you are cleared of all things. The last of the four, because of time, all that you have amassed, you don't know where until you have cleared yourself. How about you amassed it and what others have you also expected it? If I were fortunate ones, and I want to believe I'm speaking to the cross section of fortunate Nigerians, to be privileged to become a lawyer in this country places you at a level, regardless of the level of your success. You must know that we are not the class of people that Allah expects only to think about ourselves and our children alone. Therefore, I am strongly recommending initiatives in terms of Islamic social security packages, especially the aspect of endowment. Alhamdulillah, the facility we are using in this hall is an endowment project of someone who was lucky to have left behind some faithful children who are not enemies of their fathers. I can tell you for free, we have many of such testamentary dispositions that never saw the light of the day. That the ears moved against the request of their father. My case is being confirmed at all others. The best way to do it is to do it while you are alive. Create your charity endowment yourself. Register it with the CAC yourself. Appoint your trustees yourself. Let it run independently, because the clause that the Messenger of Allah has been in that of is la yu'raf. It is not to be inherited, it is also not to be sold, it is not, the ownership remains back. In Poland, will make it a project, contributing money from well-meaning members of the association to be discussing to the less privileged ones is a good initiative. But the better approach, sir, Mr. Chairman, is to see how we can raise meaningful funds that can be committed in leading investment endowment. Hundreds of millions of naira. We have Muslims who can do that. To raise billions of naira, I don't think it's a problem for this woman. And we go to our commercial nerves in Nigeria. Maybe my camera, we are so cool. Yes, on the street of Babylon, Gerard in Ipoli, where the proceeds of landed properties are even priced with dollars, not naira. And then now commit the proceeds of such projects to Islamic charity. We will build hundreds of mosques. We will declare hundreds of scholarships. And it will be endless because the property is there and it will continue to build. That is better and more long-lasting and more sustainable than having to be depending on some privileged sales among us. When it gets to the time, total fatigue will set in. It will set in. It is not sorry, it is a sorry, just mentioning names. Or it is Bangladesh. Those who live in that land. If they answer us today, they answer us tomorrow, it is innate in every man. Allah yaqdahu interacta su'alahu. It is only Allah who is angry if you refuse to ask him. But mankind, son of Adam, If you ask him too much, you have a problem. What project do travel machine? We all contribute to it together, and it's going to be sustainable business that will be run in the real commercial sense. And I think by that we'll be able to touch more lives than we are touching. On the side of law and legislation, I want to particularly emphasize that the fundamental objective and the directive principles enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should not just be left there for fun. Even as we are saying it is not justiciable, then what is it doing there? I don't know. I would want to say, sir, maybe off the point, but it's also part of it. Perhaps part of what is causing partial unemployment to some lawyers in Nigeria, especially in Lagos State, is the absence of judicial institutions that exercise jurisdiction in Islamic law. Lagos State University produces graduates every year in common and Islamic law. Lagosians, children of Lagos State and beyond, Lagos State University awards degree in common and Islamic law. And we have among our lawyers as well who are trained in this regard. I think that would have not been some added advantage to lawyers who are also trained in the Shariah law to also have the opportunity of maybe monopolizing some briefs in that regard. The clarion call to all the others. We say that the Muslims are completely not represented in the state's family law. It's not true. We appreciate, sir, the extent to which Lagos has moved, at least by designating one customary court in Abule to exercise the position somehow in Islamic personal law. But we are saying, sir, Islamic law is not consistent by its nature, substance, and form with the customary court. Even the law that has established those courts has been silent on so many things. For example, who becomes a judge of a court that administers Sharia? What are the qualifications? They are not there. I mean, as far as the Constitution is concerned, a Kadi like myself, having met all the other rules and qualifications of an average judicial officer that will be appointed by the National Judicial Council, we must also go ahead to present some further qualifications in Islamic law. We must have backed the degree that we must have held for a period of not less than 10 years from an institution recognized by the National Judicial Council. That is at the level of the Constitution. Some years ago, the NJC rolled out some new regulations at the instance of the NJC, and they also included compulsory meetings in Parliament. When you sit before the hot seat of the NJC as a candidate, you are not going to be interviewed only in the general issue. You will make a wrong. You will do grammatical analysis, especially in the days of my Lord Justice Sampo, when he was the chairman of the NJC committee on appointment of judges. He will read you, and if you fail on the ground of Arabic, you are not appointed. That is not the same. Especially we have several repeated pronouncements of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. One is the Yandi Kanawa case, where the Supreme Court has consistently declared Islamic law is not customary law. We appeal that if we have Sharia courts of first instance in Lagos State, we will in a way be fighting unemployment, at least for some sizable lawyers who are trained in that regard, and demands that will also be manning those courts either at the first instance or at the level of the Sharia Court of Appeal. I want to be sure they are also likely to be one of us. the fundamental objective and the directive principles of the state as demanded in the state policy. There mustn't have to be a section of the community that will be left out. But unfortunately, we are still saying that the Muslim marriages are not known, so to say, to our law as it speaks. The Honorable Commissioner, sir, I don't know whether the case, a particular case has come to your notice, sir. The case of a Kadi Muslim having properties in Lagos, and the judgment was given in Kadi that his properties, including those of Lagos, could be distributed according to Islam. On application to the Lagos State High Court, the response of the Chief Registrar at first instance was that this court does not administer Shariah. Maybe on further petition in the CJ, it was remembered, there is a court in Abule. That matter was militant upon that the judge in Abule takes it on. Only for the JSC to interfere at the state to tell the court that the worth of that property has not beyond the jurisdiction in terms of 500,000 is the limitation of that. These are the people the inconsistencies. So we ask, even if this is by the way, that they also look into this. In conclusion, what I just like to conclude by saying that if the legal mechanism has not been adequate enough to address the challenge, I am saying that we as a woman, we have more than enough in the Quran and Sunnah if indeed we are serious to address the situation. We will address it to different extent to those of us that are not Muslims, because charity in Islam is determined by the rule of need. It is even blind in both places to even religion or whatever application, so that the Muslims will be seen as the really God sent to the people of the Nigerian nation. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله ولكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Different most observed notice. إذا في حاجة الموصلة فأرسل حكيما ولا تمضي. When you have a need of someone to perform a task, engage in minds and a competent person and give a free hand to complete. I want to believe that our elder scholar, Shaykh AbdurRaheem Sayyi, now AbdurRaheem bin Ahmed Ashai Al-Alori has done justice to this topic of the day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to grant him wisdom, knowledge, and prosperity alongside and good earth. While the first speaker was delivering the lecture, we have among our guests who joined in our session. In that regard, I have the honor of recognizing, now that he's now president, the Able Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Minister of Justice, Lagos State, Mr. Harlan Oyenuga Esquire. Allahu Akbar. You are able to. However, I'm also bound to acknowledge the presence of the selected ones among us by Allah's favor. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make a trial of being favored a good one for them. I have the privilege of acknowledging the presence of our honorable justice from the middle level. It was said to get to the purpose. Justice Lawal Ahmed, Lawal Akafu, Honorable Justice, Court of Appeal, Nigeria. You are highly welcome, sir. You were together with us on 16th of November 2024. You answered the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today. Inshallah, your own request will never get answered. I'm also privileged to welcome into our midst Honorable Justice A.F. Lawal. You are highly welcome, sir. Also, I'm also to introduce you Honorable Justice Yaqub Shu Adam. You are welcome, sir. We are highly privileged to have you in our midst. In attendance as well is one of our NHC, Kadi, SAL. We acknowledge your presence, sir. Welcome. Now to the next item on the agenda, which is to welcome contribution, question, session as well. Questions? One. One. Two.
One. So my question is, I think it's a question on inheritance. Something like that, some of the things you said. In young man going from his father, before he has no money, he had grandparents. Now, the father has died. There's no witness to what's heard from the parents. Does this still go ahead to announce that he knows his father when the father dies, or just keeps quiet and then, goes about that it's normal?
If one asking a question, let me mindful of time. We have to go for Salat. Mindful of both page the question. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. Okay. Thank you very much to our lecturer. I'm not a lawyer, but this question is to correct my own perception. I used to think that our legal system in Nigeria is not weak in terms of phenomenon. In the sense that our society is full with fosters, people who are into their own them. And when the FCC prosecutes and by the time they got good government, we see that they are doing something. somebody and a kind of bail condition as well are so loose that they go to commit crime again. And that will not serve as a deterrent. The youth will continue to pursue this. So when the lecturer was talking, making reference that youth that we have youths that there are so much crime. I think the institution as well is weak, and the institution as well is economically weak. So that's why I said I felt that the youth system is weak. Perhaps my judgment is not right.
Please be mindful of time. No contribution to this question.
You said a good contribution to the question. My point is a contribution, a very short one. I want to thank the speaker who has been inspired as evidence. I believe that this is an understatement. I will say particularly that it's a good privilege for me to be here to make this statement. Yesterday, I was also opportunity to be at Ramadan Lecture, where we can make up in the lecture, and speak extensively on the side of the Muslim to be the rights, under certain accept and change of the constitution. Today, I'm here to give an example. And this has brought back the feeling, people feeling that are happening, when people told us talk about how we are fused as ourselves. I thought today, when we are fasting, the family we have mixture of skills. I will be in the when it's fasting time, it's a good time for us to go and holiday with our colleagues because we bring fast with them. That defines us in Southwest. And when we spoke today, it makes it clear to me that some of the things that others do are actually never moving. There is still no provision. I look at this to you attentively, and in my head, I was examining the concept of love and arrival. And I see that almost everything that is around in Islam is around in Christianity. You spoke about honesty. This is that's honesty. Do not convert your neighbor's property. It's the same thing in the Bible. So why is the problem? The problem I think, and looking further, anybody, I think part of the problem that we have in Nigeria is that people that are aspiring to the position of authority in leadership, they are never able to get acknowledge. When we sit down to hear everybody people, that's why I said I very, very lucky to be here today. Because it's exposed to you the long line of the vision that goes talk about. Now, we are here today. What are the differences that we are talking about? The only difference is that we don't expect ourselves to know what is right. Everybody, the politicians, need to learn, people that want to aspire to leadership, need to learn to know that the common denominator in all of this is humanity. And that is what we have discovered. The movie that I'm here today, by the grace of God, I will take your podcast. I want to be talking to people like who will further deepen our friendship, our unity, and our knowledge in how to admire and administer our people in the best of tradition. It is, like we said, religion is not our problem in Nigeria. It is we, the people. And now today, that brings me back to also. Now I begin to understand why some political parties try to advocate the democratic institute. I think we need it. Where people learn how to teach, how to lead in the proper manner. And your honor, I think just to be here, I really thank you a lot that you have impacted in me the total influence that the church for a long time. Thank you very much.
Maybe
A person who has borrowed was deceased father some money and failed to document it before the death of such father would only be at the mercy of the estate. If they agreed with him that indeed he actually lent the deceased father that money and ratified the loan on account of his own representation, so be it. But if they deny and they demand for proof, and he has no means of proving it, I think they have to leave and allow to the body. The cost is the cost. The longest verse in the glorious Quran speaks about whenever you are entering into any transaction that involves a future obligation, reduce it to writing. So if they have failed to reduce it to writing, that is gross negligence on his part. So if the estate ratifies the loan and they have put it, then it becomes a debt in the estate that must be discharged before distribution. But if not, and he has no means of putting it, I wouldn't tell him to keep silent. To say perhaps he can be lucky to meet the but if not, I think it's only talking about institutions and their efficacy in the aspect of administration of justice, I think this is often a flooded issue, virtually all candidates points, whether Poland or MDOs. I don't know what we are doing with that. I think it's some problem that is endemic in the system. So, especially by the introduction of the saying of what I'm calling this plea bargain of the people. As if what matters more is the recovery of the stolen fund. But what is more matters, if we value things only by the parameters of materiality, we miss it. So if we think once we've been able to recover the fund, at least that is not it. Entrenching the right value in the system is far higher than any trillion we can recover from anybody's country. I think the Lord will just stand straight like an alley or one open. The Lord will do well. Even if you have to recover, let me give you an example of something in Zakat. The Prophet was speaking about Zakat, and he said, it is an ordinance that Allah has imposed. If you refuse to give it lawfully, we shall collect it from you forcibly and then subject you to further imposition. Still, if it is collected forcibly, you are not paying what you are expected, you are supposed to pay though, but you are also paying Rashab, and that further imposition is totally at the discretion of the judge or whoever will exercise that. So, please are getting soft landing in financial crisis. No, those who will look at treasury and who will commit financial crisis, they have also projected the funds for soft landing. They have projected it, so they have gone far more than you think, so that at the end of the day, they have something comfortable to smile at again. So, we are Muslims. Allah says, Kumo Qawwamina lillah, Shuhada bil Qist. But are we left out? We are not. In all these cases, we also have some of us as well who are counseled in one way or the other. I don't know what to say about that. It's a systemic people who don't really understand. My only counsel to all of us is that let us never get deluded. And let us forever remind ourselves that all things we are doing is not the reality. The reality itself will face by the time we find ourselves lying in solitude in our individual places. We'll meet Allah. Let us make this in consideration for whatever we do. If Muslim lawyers alone can stand firm justice, we make an impact. But we want to make it even in the dirtiest place possible. You still see counsel, even with other mark on the forehead, to show me that this is a regular observer of Salah. Because we are thinking it's just profession. It's not going to be the same story by the time we meet abroad. So let us try as much as possible to place this, make this applicable. Again, at least we have some standard on which we determine what to do or what not to do. Lastly, on this point, let me cite this example of the Prophet Sallallahu the distinction between the smart Muslim and the foolish Muslim. The smart, according to the Muslim, is he who is regularly critical of himself. He who assesses himself. I'm coming. He who is always judgmental against himself, not others, and makes the consideration for whatever he does, the likely consequence of that after his death. I don't know whether I can understand. What motivates him into doing anything is the likely consequence of that action when he meets Allah. So if it's likely from his own evaluation point, this is something I like to read my body do. Is encourages to be better to go ahead. And his answer is in the negative. He drops. I think if we can do that, we'll make our own impact. Allah can bring the result we want. No lawyer will have to become standing before Allah and then defending what is not valuable, only with the excuse that you are just demanding doing. I don't think we are not in the law school, but we should lose our conscience on account of being called to the Nigerian bar. I don't think there's any provision of the Legal Practitioners Act that has robbed a legal practitioner of his conscience. Because our conscience is an issue of fundamental rights. Isn't it? It's germane with your freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. So you are not coerced as a lawyer professionally to take up any brief that you know you cannot defend before Allah. So also our lawyers are consistent about the bench. You know the judges are three. The prophets are starting speaking. 2 are in hellfire, only 1 will be in paradise. The one that will be, the first 2 that will be in paradise is the one who does not know the law and judges with ignorance and then subverted justice. We have them today. Sometimes when we read some judgment of some of our brothers, we wonder, even in terms of rudiments of the law, some judges are found wanting. If on account of that ignorance, we now subvert justice in the law, that is the first category of judges in our life. The second is the one who knows the law. He is actually a master of the law, but he also knows how to engineer the law into whatever end he desires. Depending on where his inclination goes, that one is also going to help him. The only judge that will go to the paradise is the judge who knows the law and judges and applies the law correctly to achieve the end of justice. May Allah make us among the ones that will go to paradise, and all our brothers and sisters that are do not be an advocate to the church house. Do not be an advocate to the criminal church. That the case is by this. Let it be known that you are not involving yourself on religious ground. You score a point not only for yourself, you are also scoring a point as well for your day. A time will come that is now coming to be brand for members of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
We have got to enjoy our honorable Kadi more, but because of time, we'll need to move on straight to the other programs. We have just two more programs, and the chairman, distinguished guests will agree with me that the time is fast spent, and we need to get to take goodwill messages from some of our distinguished guests here seated. Inshallah, we move straight to that. And the first person I will invite for his goodwill message is our Honorable Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lagos State, Mr. Ramadan Lecture. Sayyi. Thank you, Allah. Welcome, sir. You're very sorry. Thank you. I was on the speaking with them.
Please do the message. Please, each and every one of us, as we have declared this morning, Salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The chairman of today, here, the former attorney general, because I'm sitting beside the chairman, so I don't cut my marks. You know what I'm talking about, right? Because my mark was so I greeted him. Thank you. So by second, I greet all the notes that are here, starting with the Lord and the justice of the Court of Appeal, brother, Justice Sayyi. I greet you, sir. This is you. The Lords here present, I feel now do. Should I begin to name? But I think I know them. I greet you. All my national movement of the here, people are greeting my solicitor general. You are shocked that I'm still here. Our arrangement was we can't be in the same function at the same time. So once we come, I'm supposed to have events. But this is a very important function, which I know behind, and that's why we are here. So fix them and comfortable. To our mothers, and picture of good results, as it should be, in terms of the extension. I greet all of you, please. And I'm just a good message. And I think for good, support and always for sure I'm listening. And this is not the only forum and vision of Shariah, not the Shariah courts, the Shariah Court of Appeal has come up. I can assure you that we are working on it in Lagos State now to take it to the next level. I think the audience, brothers and sisters and women also with me. We were a few weeks ago, and this is to submit some papers. I just to assure you that those papers will look better and try as much as possible to blend it. The latest one that I'm just brought has to do with bills made by Muslim. That will also have the conclusion. But for the mother to continue to exist and survive and thrive, must also work my heart to what we're trying to do to make sure that the association is financially independent and sustainable. And that will need cooperation and assistance to each and every one of us. No amount will be too small, and no amount will be too much. Able to You know, you know how to collect it from me, don't worry. You know how to make it problem. But when the rest are so, you head and those. I won't make sure that the rest are sure I'll take it on. And I don't want to discourage people. If I have mentioned about then you don't mind that discouraging, I don't like that. But you can rest assured, personally, you will have it. And of course, Shall we also try to chief accounting officer is hearing me. So now I'm so free now that certain things you don't ask of me. Once you ask, I'll just go and make the accounting officer. I was accounting officer for 7 years, so I know how to do it. So now I'm free. I'm a politician now. So when you see me in their midst, you know. So now I'm hearing another. So now you know attorney general from the name. Now don't say commissioner for this. So when I'm hearing to an attorney general or here commissioner for this. So but that man is there, he's the chief accounting officer. He will deal with that on the official side. So I must also thank each and every one of you for finding time for this particular lecture. And I'm quite impressed. I think this talk will not take us to next one. Organize, I hope you are here. So don't come to me to ask for this or that, one thing or the other. I think we should ask for a bigger one. If I'm not taking you out of your comfort zone, you may have to come to an answer. I have a bigger hall there, which I can give to you also free of charge. Yes, I always tell you, don't worry that okay. And I'm always very proud to say it. And I happen to be the chairman of the board of trustees of the two holy mosques in the secretariat. So if I not give it to Mula, then who should I give it to? So if this person cannot take us, next year just come to announce her, come and take the board free of charge. May I call the next person on your behalf? Chairman.
Reduce after the 002. We're going to go through the Google message for very, very quick. Because the time for Salat is fast spent. I will invite my brother Latif Akonde to give the Google message very quickly, please. Short, 2 minutes.
We should spend generously. We should spend, we know that what we spend in the month of Ramadan is
And because I'm sitting here, again, the world and I'm getting the mega months. So I thought, to please support me that the government for me, then application for me to process. I was doing time, we continue to be there. I was continue to talk about the report, that's the reason. So I'm there to support. Then we like to pay that. And you guys, all of us, thank you. Because he was
It's a privilege to be here. Thank you for the invitation. The chairman of the occasion, my brother, I'd like to say, I came to Brazil. Thank you for fishing me out. It has been a blessed day for me, a day well spent. The lecturer did a wonderful job, a well-researched paper. I'm sure I'm going back home as a better Muslim. I took down notes. It's like I'm writing an exam. With Almighty Allah, increasing your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. To Mullah, I wish this association greater heights. I pledge to be very involved with this association. I've always been, and by His grace, I shall continue to be. I am proud to be a Muslim. Assalamu alaikum. I have the time of the
last Google message will come from we were to please. One minute, please. Chairman, brothers and sisters, I good wishes giving you knowledge, giving you assistance spiritually. I want to say that today I've been assisted in knowledge as a teacher of my life. I want to thank the Lord for this thing. I want to encourage you to keep it going and invite people like me to always come and learn from you. If we make all of this better, and better quality class of our affairs, because when the figure was speaking, I realized that the government is saying that it's a flat surface thing. What affects the right side, the right eye, affects the left eye also. So there are new communication that we are facing here in Nigeria. And the only way that can protect ourselves is not only in holding on to our individual enemies, but hold on to the truth and what is right in everything we do. Look at what we are doing is right. And you can stand before your God and say, I have done what is right, and that is where you will be able to see what I'm doing. I mean, people are not God, and I believe that whatever you do is a very cause that is godly, is something that you can expect to do at the end of the day. And what is anytime you learn the members or I become aware of anything done, I will participate, I will contribute. My brother can lead as president. Who's advocate for police? We are taking any time. And so, my brother is coming. Please, anytime I meet with a state problem, it is the same cause of faithfulness, righteousness, that we are all doing. And God will help in telling you. That is the last thing of the message. We don't hand over to the next to I will contribute more because of listening lawyers, we must take what we're doing very seriously and very important. We must drive our own welfare, create our own sustenance for ourselves, and Allah will help all of us.
Thank you, Allah. Inshallah, we move straight to the of Salat. We are going to have the vote of thanks that will be done by the chairman planning committee of Online Muslim Association of Nigeria, Lagos branch, Ramadan Lecture 2025. Mr. Hassan, back to the table.
Read the laws in absence, essentially, article of Lagos State, article is everybody. Consent is apology to 2 days ago. And I can say also, even has supported us in many ways. All the time. Economy. I think the law and probably doesn't have to not but yes, we probably don't particularly and let me start with I'm listening more who are saying the apologies to us, apologies to them, to find the apologies to them. Some people of the businesses, why they would be in solution. We are all of them. And I think the honor of the High State Bench, thank you very much for your presence and your financial support. Support mostly lawyers. We are so grateful. Lord, brothers and sisters in Islam, it is going to have you with us. That if you find and this call is empty, we are doing nothing. We are able to keep happy and jealous and people feel that we will support Allah and effort is success. And we can see how the president in general lecture of the day is political mind and this out the day, very intellectual, where it stands as my Lord necessarily has said. And many of us took notes on various aspects of the lecture. Thank you very much. Of And thank you for placing the name in the Development Support Program that my brother is chairman of that committee and deputy down for us. And I think all of us will support the chairman in trying to bring that fund. In trying to bring that fund. It is purposely created for the president of the Muslim donors in Lagos State. And this alone, and I'm sure I hope it is support of the and no amount is small. And I said, Brother, I said, that is it. It's not just money, but this will be and pray of blessings to please the family in your way, in our land. We thank all of you for coming. We thank of this organization. No lawyer, and I think many of us here, no lawyer, no legal personnel in our here. Allows us all over and then thank you for acting to our all for following our invitation. We don't want to allow what God but we and want to go you don't give them. And all of them that see the greatest work of this particular that in another government. We found also now that say we have the general and justice, our brother and is able and permanent secretary of the general and brother and thank them as a company for coming for each of the supporting them. Thank everybody. One of us comes I read only about thank you very much. It is not the first time you are taking our program. We did not forget you. We came and united and supported God. Thank you very much. I don't want to honor you in the time of that progress. For all of us, I think they have now thank you for there. Father, thank you
very much, sir. The regular program on the agenda is to have the program suspended till when we come on to us again for the program. I would like to call on Professor F.A.R. Ability, the Association Board. I recognize the presence from our former chairman, Ramadan Lecture, Mr. Sayyi.
We have a Muslim journal at one time in Lagos State, and that journal is coming now very soon. Because of Ramadan, we are giving extra 2 weeks. So for those who are our common labor, please not be your labor. I'm still expecting the other ones. Therefore, those of you who have not submitted, please. Kadi, you decide. I'm expecting your paper. For all of us who are meeting something, we are following it, and we thank you so much. What we don't need to so that we don't have to. Modern Lagos State is among the best universities in the whole country. I remember the Lagos that beat the last time they came from Mulan, when I was national president. Because the Lagos of Lagos to the and there has never been a kind of Mulan group and work research in Lagos State. We have about 12 papers already, and we are going for 20 papers. If you want anybody that contribute, please contribute. If we pass more than, if we have more than enough papers for volume 1, we are going to have volume 2. I want you to be coming out every year. I'm going to dedicate to any of our personalities. Please, for those of us who do not know about it, those coming, we will see how to do for people. I thank you. The German God said I just give it for you. I'm going to close the area. Why not allow one of them? Shariah, Okay.